It's about 1 in 5 pregnancy. It will end up in miscarriages, and most of them, as many as probably 70 to 75% happen in the first trimester. So the rest of the 20-25% happens in second or third trimester.
Last year, I had a stillbirth. In the first trimester, everything was okay. And then towards the beginning of the second trimester, right, they realized that my baby, the water level is very low. Yeah, so my gynae referred me to a high-risk specialist, and then they did a scan, and you know, like normally the baby should be like floating in like a balloon, right, in the womb, but my baby is like being vacuum packed. Yeah, so she was like curled out, and then there wasn't any liquid around her. So the high-risk specialist said that it could be due to like you know, her kidneys, or maybe there is a leak in the water bag. Yeah, but they couldn't be sure. So from 18 weeks onward, right, I started bed rest. I bed rest for 2 months. Yeah, everything was okay lah. It was very stressful because when's the next day? You're counting by day. People are counting by weeks. I'm counting by days. Yeah, and then I managed to last until the 24th weeks. If your baby deliver before 24 weeks, right, they will not resuscitate. So 24 weeks is like the viable period. Yeah, so I managed to hit 24 weeks. Then I was damn happy. Yeah, then after that I continued to bed rest until 26 weeks. I leaked out meconium. Meconium is the baby's first poo, the green color stuff. So by right, they are supposed to be delivered first, then they will pass out meconium. Now, this is my first pregnancy, so I'm not really sure what it's about. But I felt like, you know, I need to pass motion. Then after I pass motion, right, still got the feeling of passing motion. Then I told the nurse, then the nurse strapped me on and then said, "You're having contractions." And then she rushed me down to L&D. And then she came over and then she checked me, and then she said, "You're 5 cm dilated in like 2 hours, very fast." And then she said that just give the epidural already. I don't want her to deliver in pain. Yeah, and then she also said that because already 5 cm dilated and the baby is already very low, so it's impossible to do a C-sec because the baby already very low. And then she said we have to go natural. So after that, right, she gave me the epidural, and then after like 10-15 minutes, right, she started asking me to push. So it was very fast, and then I pushed, and about 20 minutes, right, I delivered my baby. Yeah, and then at that point in time in the room, there was about 14 people in the L&D room. The neonate team, you know, the delivery team, and everybody was there. And then the neonate, right, after my baby came out, right, and then she said that keep the umbilical cord long, because they don't want to severe the oxygen yet. And then once she reached the checking bed, right, then they started timing, and then my baby was there, and then she checked the, you know, heartbeat and everything. And then after a while, she just said CPR. And then they started resuscitating, CPR 1 or 2 or 3, and pumping. At that time, the timer was still ticking. And then she said, after a while, she said adrenaline. Yeah, so I guess my baby was not responding to the resuscitation efforts. But before I delivered, there was still heartbeat. So and then, you know, I'm not sure whether is it during the process or whatever, but anyway, she came out, and then they had to resuscitate her. And then they gave her a second dose of adrenaline, but it was still quite futile. Like the heartbeat that she has is from the CPR. That means she wasn't breathing. And my husband, who was in the L&D room, right, he saw that our baby was like gasping for air. Every 15-20 seconds, it was like, you know, and then it was, yeah, very horrible. And then 10 minutes later, the neonate asked us whether we want to continue with the resuscitation. Then we say, yeah, continue, you know, save her. And then they continued CPRing the whole time until about, I think, almost 20 minutes. Then she asked us, you know, she tells us that sometimes we have to be merciful, baby is not responding, and then baby is so small, the CPR already damaged her ribs and her lungs a lot. And she also mentioned that there was another baby who continued the resuscitation, and then they had to drill a hole in the throat to put the ventilator, the tube intubation over here, and then 6 months later the baby still couldn't survive. So at 24 minutes, we made a decision to let our baby go.
2 miscarriages. One is in 2011. It was a boy. at around 23rd week. So the water bag broke, and obviously he didn't make it because it was too premature. Subsequently, it was the following year, 2012, and it was a twins. And also both are boys. Similar reasons, at 21 week, they came too early, so they couldn't survive as well. There's obviously the fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment. So that's why for us Asian context, it seems like relatively harder. So in your mind, it's like a video recorder, keep on rewinding the scenes, the scenarios and whatsoever. You are obviously questioning, is there something wrong with your body lah? Is there any sign that you have missed off? And not to mention, of course, you go through Google portal, motherhood portal or whatever, mom's portal, just to find any answers or any similar cases that you could relate to. So it's very much a overwhelming process lah. On one hand, you're trying to find answers. On the other hand, you're trying to process with your grief. So everything comes in together and you don't know what you don't know. So you also don't know how to react to it, was also the concern. Having said so, then the question is, once you search whatever you can, find whatever answers, what's next? Then how to move forward.
After I went home, I cried for 2 weeks. I didn't do my confinement properly. In fact, I was very angry at God, like, why this thing happened? Yeah, so after that, people ask me to listen to a sermon or what, I go away, don't talk to me. Then after that, I find that because I bottled myself up and I refuse to face the fact or whatever that has happened, it's harder for me to heal. I still feel very pain every day. Then at the 2 weeks mark, right, I decided to just let it out. It's quite emotional to talk about it sometimes. So maybe the stigma part is like some people will feel that their in-laws or their parents will think, hey, why you never take care of yourself? Then they will feel condemned and everything. That is one major part. And then the other part for me is I feel like it is quite emotional and quite raw. Like sometimes we don't want to talk about it and then suddenly cry in front of other people, right? Yeah, so for me that was a bit of holding me back. But I've since learned that, through this journey, I also learned that it's more important to face your emotions, like to grieve it through, to really talk about it, to be human instead of bottling it up, and then you cannot heal properly. After the neonate cleaned up my baby and brought her back for us to have a last look, she was wrapped in a towel, a swaddle towel. Then after I noticed there was this gown thing. Yeah, and then the neonate still asked me, would you like to remove the towel and look at your baby? She's dressed in a beautiful gown. Then I was like, no, I don't want. I was still very sad. I never thought about it. After that, now I think about it, right? Then I realized that the gown is from Angel Hearts.
The idea actually came from US because the union of a married couple is where obviously the spouse wear the wedding gown, and that's why we want to have the love elements to come in place as well, because obviously a child also comes because from the love of a couple. So this is the receiving blankets that after we clothe them in angel gowns, we also put them in the receiving blankets before the nurses bring them to the mortuary partially because in most cases they probably put them in a plastic box. So we also want to wrap them nicely to bring to the mortuary. Okay, this is the angel charms. That's where the baby would wear it, and these charms together with the charm card is where the parents would have it. So it forms a connections for the baby and with the parents. We have over 100 plus volunteers, mainly who are sewers. So we have young mothers like 20, 30s. We have senior citizens like 50s, 60s, retirees. So recently we have young volunteers as young as 12 or 18 years old. So it varies quite a fair bit.
I joined Angel Hearts around 2016. And I joined because initially my mom put me along to do volunteering work. But slowly I found out how meaningful it is, and it taught me a lot of things along the way also. I helped do the paper quilling cards and write the wordings on it. And for the web shop, it's usually I'll take picture of the products and send it to my mom so that she can upload it onto the web shop so that the items can be sold online. To me, death isn't a very heavy topic because my mom has talked about it for over the years, and she will slowly introduce it to us in a very light way. I feel like it's something that should be more spoken about because in this day and age, it's something that would happen.
And also, going there and listening to other people's story and encouraging them, and also doing the voluntary activities, it takes your mind off yourself and your issues. It's a very safe place. I'm very touched by people doing courses like this. It goes to show that there are very kind people and kind souls out there. Like every time we do things, sometimes most of the time maybe we do things is for a reason or for a profit or for something that has to benefit ourselves. But for this cause, this organization, right, they really not expecting anything in return. They just want to help people. They just want to comfort people. So I thought that is a very altruistic thing. I think it's very pure and very nice to be there. When you are going through a thing, it's really very horrible, but you have two options. One is to stay there and really keep wallowing in self-pity or feeling low at that point in time, and you won't be able to recover. Or the other way is you say you want to come out stronger, you want to overcome this, you don't want to stay there. Yeah, there's only two ways, and we have to make a decision.